A bit of a departure today, but this is technology related and very important, and this channel is computing forever and all. The European Union has, in its always infinite wisdom, mandated that all new cars sold in the EU from July 7th, 2026, a date that has already passed, must have a range of new safety systems. And the big one that's causing a stir right now is the ADDW, the Advanced Driver Distraction Warning. This is an infrared camera mounted behind the steering wheel or somewhere above the dashboard. It's looking directly at the driver. A camera that looks directly at you as you drive. It works regardless of ambient lighting, so even at nighttime. Its face detection software is tracking your head movements, where your eyes are looking, right down to the iris and pupils, how often your eyes close, the frequency of your eye blinking, how often you yawn, and if you're wearing sunglasses. It'll know how many times that you look out your side window, or look at the landscape, for example, or if you briefly turn around to check on the person sitting behind you. And it lets out an annoying beep if it thinks you're too tired or not sufficiently attentive to the road ahead of you. So it beeps if it thinks you're distracted. It's about as big brother as you can get. A mandated camera that watches you as you drive and beeps if it thinks that you're momentarily not looking directly ahead. And I think it's something like 3.5 seconds. This is going to make driving immensely stressful, like you're being micromanaged with every turn. Now, of course, this is all being sold to the public as part of a process to improve road safety. But as with all such systems and policies, you're sacrificing your privacy and freedom for an alleged increase in safety. At the present time, the data won't be leaving the car. It's said to operate in a closed loop, so everything is stored locally. But there are concerns that this is all kind of a slippery slope mission creep type situation. So they've got the foot in the door, as it were. And we all know that by 2030 or so, that most new cars on the road in the EU are expected to be connected to the internet. So there are concerns that the camera footage and sensor data will eventually leave the car and be continuously uploaded in real time to the cloud. We shall see. Nothing would surprise me. We all know that the scope of such policies usually gets expanded with time. Like I say, they get one foot in the door, and it's easier then to proceed with introducing the next thing and the next thing. It's all incrementalism. And so long as they can keep pointing to the safety benefits, then many people will just shrug and accept it. How did we get here? How did we get here? How did we reach a point where the EU is so bureaucratic, it's able to mandate a camera in the car that you bought that observes you while you drive? And you can't reject it. Look, driving is never going to be 100% safe. And we as motorists have to accept a certain level of potential danger on the road. The overly bureaucratic nanny state is just demanding more and more access to aspects of our lives that were previously off limits. Drivers pass a driving test. They become qualified to be licensed to drive a vehicle on the road, and they pay tax for the roads, and they pay car insurance, and they should be obeying the rules of the road and obeying the speed limit, of course. And that should be enough. After that point, there should be a certain level of just trust, and there is an element of acceptable risk when driving. And if you overly regulate driving, just like overly regulating any aspect of life, you will, to varying degrees, have to limit freedom or have to limit privacy. It's the same idea with, some sort of digital ID to access the internet, which is another topic of conversation. Every purported measure to increase safety in some aspect of our lives usually comes with a loss of personal autonomy or privacy. Look, no average citizen was asking for this. This is just imposed upon the people by bureaucrats sitting in their ivory towers in Brussels. We are far removed from the levers of power. And we, the people, were never consulted. And that's largely how life has been in the EU for a while. We're told something is going to be mandated by a certain point, and it's some law or policy that will affect the lives of everyone in the member states. And then it gets ratified and signed into law. It's just a mere formality. We don't get a vote on it, and that's that. Now, this new system is only going to be in new cars, like I say. Older cars are not required to install it. Older cars are not affected. And I suspect people will be trying to hold on to their old cars or buying older cars for as long as possible. But that's not a great strategy after, say, 15 or 20 years when the parts for your older car become scarce, or maintaining your old car just becomes impractical or prohibitive. Insurance might be hiked on older vehicles, and of course, petrol and diesel becomes more scarce as those types of vehicles get phased out in favor of new, fully electric cars. So at some point, many years from now, options will be limited for motorists when it comes to driving. But 20 years is a long time. 20 years is a long time, and who knows where the EU will be by then, if it's still even going to be a thing. But I was just thinking about this. Why stop at a camera? Why stop at a camera that watches you? I mean, if you want to make driving super safe, why not install a microphone, right? That listens to you in your car. A microphone that listens to your conversations, because it could be a great way of monitoring the driver's emotional state. Because the microphone could listen and hear if you are playing the music too loud in the car, or if you're having a heated phone call or an argument with a passenger in the car. And this could raise your heart rate, right? This could raise your heart rate and potentially compromise you emotionally. And you could be at risk of making a mistake or driving too fast. If you're angry, why not go there? Why stop at a camera? This is the problem. If you can think of another safety measure that just requires another little bit of sacrificing of freedom and privacy, well, as long as you don't value freedom and privacy, as long as you value safety above all else, they can just keep inching further and further into your life and eroding more and more of your freedom and privacy. So yeah, it sounds absurd. But ask anyone 5 years ago about the idea of a mandatory camera in your car that watches you drive, and they would have told you that you're a crazy, paranoid lunatic, and that would never happen, and that people would never put up with that. And yet, they were never given a choice. It's not a choice to put up with it or not. It's actually just July of 2026. And it's now a thing. So there you go. I'm curious as to your thoughts on this one. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that notification bell to be notified of future updates. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Happy motoring. Bye-bye.